So what you would do is you would look at both sides and make sure you're in that sort of sensitivity space area, and you would push down, and obviously you've got to learn the correct pressure. So the spine goes right through the middle, is on the governor vessel meridian, and we're going to focus on this one here, which is the bladder meridian. Actually having an image of the skeletal area really to show me what this refers to on the back. See, on my line here, it needs to be slightly further over that way, I think. You've got your spine there. Last one, which is known to help lower back pain. We're just going to press in with this pressure. Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I have my model with me who is going to help me on my journey of relearning where all the acupoints are on the body, with a view to eventually being able to provide a full acupressure treatment. Today we are going to focus on the acupoints on the back, and specifically those focusing on the bladder meridian and the medial branch, which is either side of the spine. So first of all, I'm going to cleanse the back area and also check for contraindications. I know we're not doing a full treatment today, but even with me touching and pushing slightly on the back area, I just want to make sure that there are no contraindications that I can see. So apologies if this is a bit cold. Sorry? It's just a gentle cleanse of the back, just to get rid of any impurities that are there. So I don't want to spread anything. So a good cleanse is always helpful. And it's quite cooling on the back as well.
Very nice, thank you.
And it also allows me to have a quick look with my eyes before I go to have a more detailed look with the magnifying glass. Okay. Just going to have a good look around. If, as I'm doing this, I'm just going to run my fingers down, and if anything is tender or sore at all, then please do alert me. Have you had any itchiness on your back or anything like that?
Sometimes top left.
Right. There's nothing open there at the moment.
Maybe in the past.
Yeah, okay. It's worth double checking, because you don't want to find you've got like a rash or something that you could spread. So no pain at all.
No.
Brilliant. Right, that's absolutely fine. And have you heard of acupressure before?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is something that I was fascinated with during my studies, and I've sort of got to revisit it now, and I'm actually really enjoying the fascination I had with it. It's all coming back to me. So acupressure is a traditional Chinese treatment. So it's based on the principles of qi, which is energy that flows through your body using 14 meridians. So it's quite fascinating subject. It's all about the energies or the energy pathways in the body. And you apply pressure to various acupoints along these meridians to strengthen the flow of that qi. And that helps to remove any blockages that you have. And it can help with, we get these niggling aches and pains, and sometimes more serious illnesses or common ailments it can help with.
Okay.
And it helps to promote that overall sense of well-being.
Thank you.
As I said, I studied this as part of my holistic diploma course, and I'm still fascinated, and I really want to share my journey with you of relearning all about acupressure. I still have some of my old textbooks. This is my main one that I used, the Acupressure Atlas, and I'll be referring to this today. And it also comes with the most beautiful visual to help you identify where all the acupressure points are across the whole of the body. Totally fascinating. There are 361 points to learn. So obviously that is the challenge, getting those in your head. So it's going to take me a while to relearn those. And obviously today what we're focusing on is the medial branch of the bladder meridian. So the spine goes right through the middle, is on the governor vessel meridian, and we're going to focus on this one here, which is the bladder meridian and the acupoints along the medial branch today. So as I say, quite fascinating.
Yeah.
And thank you for agreeing to come on this journey with me. I really appreciate it. So the concept, as I said, is based on the beliefs of Chinese medicine, and it's been around for over 2,000 years, and it's practiced by thousands of people worldwide, and really focusing on relieving some of those common aches and pains. Obviously, be aware it's not a substitute for medical treatment, but it can be really complementary to this. But obviously, if you are pregnant, for example, or if you have chronic health conditions, then you do need to be very wary of this treatment. In particular, some of the acupressure points can be quite stimulating. So obviously if you've got cardiac issues, or as I said, you're pregnant, you need to be wary of that, and it may well not be the right treatment for you. But you can always ask your medical practitioner what they advise as well. So as I said to you, an acupressure point really is various points along the meridian lines, and it's almost a point of increased sensitivity located along these various meridian lines, and we're going to identify quite a few of them today. But what I want you to make you aware of is the list of the 14 meridians, and I need to refer to them because even now I can't just cite all 14 of them, so I've got my list up ready for me just to make you aware. and they do flow through different parts of the body. So you have the lung meridian, the large intestine, the stomach, the spleen, the heart, the small intestine, the bladder, which we're going to be working on today, the kidney, the pericardium, the triple warmer, the gallbladder, the liver, the conception vessel, and the governing vessel. And by learning these acupressure points, you can build up enough knowledge ultimately to provide a full acupressure treatment. And also, depending on what your client is presenting with, you can adjust and adapt to what is actually needed to help make them feel better. So you can build up a treatment plan to enhance their overall well-being. You can focus on one particular area, or you can do a full treatment. And the beauty of this is, I know from my self-care series that a lot of you want to do what you can yourselves, but you can't. I either haven't got the time or the financial means to go and have treatments externally. So some of this you can do as a self-care treatment. There are certain parts that you can work on yourself. And indeed, the back, normally when we do this as a treatment, you would actually be sitting up. I've got my model here lying down just so that I can demonstrate these points. But you can actually get to certain acupoints on your back, which you can do yourself. And I have got previous videos showing you some of those moves. But let's move on to the back area and start mapping out some of these acupoints. We're going to start, as I said to you, with the medial branch of the bladder meridian, which is situated parallel to the middle axis of the body, which is that spinal area, and 2 finger widths to the side of that is where the medial branch will sit. And to get this more accurate, I'm going to refer to the book regularly and also to my very helpful diagram, which outlines where these acupoints are. What I also found was useful is I referred back to some of my anatomy and physiology books that I had. So I'm going to get one of those up. And what I found helpful was actually having an image of the skeletal area, really to show me what this refers to on the back. So we're talking here about the spinal column and the gaps to the right and left of that. And it becomes a bit clearer in this diagram here. So you have the spinal column and you've got the thoracic vertebrae here going into the lumbar vertebrae lower down. So it's quite interesting to go back and revisit some of my original reference books to help me with this. And this just demonstrates how complex really the knowledge that you need is to build up. And I'm going to really take my time and actually enjoy the relearning aspect while I'm doing this. So let's go and do the first one of these acupoints, and that will give us a little bit of a reference. What I'm going to do is use a marker pen, a nice selection here. So I think we'll choose a green one for this, and we'll get that first acupoint in place. Okay, so we're going to start with B11, so bladder 11, known as the Great Shuttle. So I always find it quite amusing when I look at some of the names, because obviously these have all got Chinese names and somebody's translated them into Western language, and some of them are quite amazing, but I'm going to stick with the Western ones because I would not be able to pronounce the Chinese ones. So the Great Shuttle is located at the level of the gap between the first and second thoracic vertebrae. So I've got my reference point here as well. So we're coming down 2 finger widths from the spine, and then coming down into the thoracic vertebrae there. So we put the first stop there, and then what I'm going to do is locate this top branch first, and we'll go right down to 17, which is diaphragm shu, which is in the gap between the 7th and 8th vertebrae. So that is down. So that is there. I mean, these are approximate, but actually you go in with your fingers, the tips of your fingers, you can actually feel where the spaces are, and that really helps. So you then have in between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 evenly spaced between there. So that's our first 7 mapped out. And what you would also do is obviously do this on the other side. That's really helpful. So what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to put in number 11 there, and I'm going to put a 17 here. Okay, and then we're going to talk a little bit about these. There are also, once I get a bit more advanced, I've only just started using this myself, and what actually happens is you use these tools to then pressure, or you can use your thumb or your fingertips to put pressure. So for example, with this one, you would then make sure that you're in the right space and there's that gap there. Push that down. You could do it with your 2 fingers, or you could actually use something like this. Just be careful with the pressure, particularly people who've got sensitivity there. But this is a specific acupressure tool that's been used to work and stimulate those areas. So, actually I want to use that. So the first one, as I said, is number 11, B11, which is the Great Shuttle. And the Great Shuttle is located, as I said, between the first and second vertebrae, and I'm comfortable we've got that right. And this point can be used to treat illnesses in the upper respiratory passage and pain in the throat, which is quite interesting. It is quite fascinating, isn't it? So number 12, which is this one, would be known as wind gate. So wind gate is located at the level of the gap between the 3rd and 4th thoracic vertebrae. So if you want to double check yourself, you can check where the edge of the vertebrae are. And this point is used to treat illnesses of the respiratory passages such as asthma, and is often used in promoting therapy in the cases of infectious diseases, things like that, anything to do with the lungs. We've got bladder 13, which is a lung shoe, which is this one here. Okay. And the most important uses of this point relate to problems in the respiratory passages such as bronchial asthma. So what you could do, yeah, interesting. So you could put pressure in that and then move down to the next one. So that's our 11, 12 and 13. 14 is the pericardium shoe, and it can be massaged to alleviate coughs, which is interesting. So this is all very much related to the respiratory area. Then we have, so 11, 12, 13, 14. Then we have 15, which is the heart shoe. And oh, an interesting one here. It says, in traditional Chinese medicine, this point is said to bring about peace of mind. So that's an interesting one, but also associated with cardiovascular problems as well. But peace of mind, that sounds nice. Okay. And then we've got 16, which is the governing shoe. Acupressure at this point has positive effects on stomach aches and other pain in the abdominal area. And then the last one on this top part of the branch is 17, diaphragm shoe. Traditional Chinese medicine sees this point as filling and calming the blood. So interesting. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just give an example so that I can practice how I do this. And I thought what would be interesting is if we take bladder 15, which is in traditional Chinese medicine, this point is said to bring about peace of mind. And let's just work on 1, 2, 3. That's a bit confusing. Let's just work out where this one is. So we'll go 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So it's this one here. And I'm going to come up here so we can see this on the camera. So what you would do is you would look at both sides and make sure you're in that sort of sensitivity space area. And you would push down, and obviously you've got to learn the correct pressure. So how does that pressure feel to you?
Fine, thank you.
Okay. So what you would do is initially you would do that probably for a couple of minutes actually, and just hold that. I like the idea of peace of mind. And then when you come off, you would circle that area. Now, if you were doing this yourself, you might find it easier to obviously do one at a time, which you could do as well. Or, as I said, you could use your pressure tool. Just be careful. I need a bit more practice on the right pressure. How does that feel?
Feels fine, thank you. Yeah, good.
Doesn't feel pokey or anything like that?
Not at all.
You are so good allowing me to practice on you.
It's fine. Very relaxing.
Okay, we'll put our dots back in on that one. And actually what is useful to check is that I can see on my line here, it needs to be slightly further over that way, I think. You've got your spine there. So So it needs to be slightly over. So when we move down to the lumbar vertebrae, I will take that on board. Right, so we're going to move on to look at the lower half associated with the lumbar vertebrae. So we're going to do 18 to 25. I think we stop at here. Yeah. The medial branch stops at B25. So we're going to, and I've just pinpointed that. So there we go. We're going to start, and that will be our bladder 18. And then we're going to go right down to 25, which, looking at my reference point here, feel that dip there actually. And that will be 25. Okay, so let's work out how many points we've got in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. So roughly either side of the middle there. And let's just double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're not doing 26 according to the instructions. Okay, so what I'm going to do is get this a little bit more accurate this time and go down from here, because I think this is slightly in. So 1. Good. Okay, so let's hear a little bit about these. So we had right up to 17, which was the diaphragm shoe. So here we have 18, which is the liver shoe, which is used to treat illnesses of the liver and gallbladder, as well as eye conditions and psychological and psychosomatic problems. We've got 19, which is the gallbladder shoe, which is used to treat illnesses of the gallbladder, such as infections or gallstones. B20 is the spleen shoe, which can be used to treat chronic infections of the mucous membranes of the stomach, as well as digestive problems. We've got 21, which is the stomach shoe. This point is used to treat stomach aches and acute and chronic infections in the stomach. We have 22, which is the triple heater shoe. And this acupressure point has positive effects for acute stomach infections. And 23 is the kidney shoe, which is the acupressure point to treat sexual dysfunctions, menstrual problems and pain in the lower back. And then bladder 24, which is the C of key shoe. It can be used to treat pain in the lower back as well as pain during menstruation. And lastly 25, which is the large intestine shoe, which can be used to treat pain in the lower back as well as digestive problems. So let's just have a look at maybe one of these. So I think maybe let's just try the bottom ones, which are for back pain. And marks actually come off that last one. Okay, so on this last one, which is known to help lower back pain, we're just going to press in with this pressure. So you put the pressure in, hold that in roughly, I would say 2 minutes, but then pull off and then circular moves. Just to really relax that area. And then if necessary, you would go in again and do that. Okay, I'm happy that we've mapped all those out correctly. That's really given me a good idea of what I need to work on. And what I need to get in my head is more information about each of these acupoints and what they do, so that I can adapt a treatment and really individualise it as much as possible. But this is a great start. The back apparently is one of the most complex parts of acupressure to learn, and we've literally just done one branch of the bladder meridian here on part of the back. So it is amazing and quite fascinating, and I really do want to thank my model for going on this journey with me. It is interesting, and I'm learning a lot, and I'm really happy that you're sharing this journey with me, and obviously I will build that up over future videos. So I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you.